This is called the Countdown to College because what I'm going to be doing this afternoon is giving you all the things that you're going to need, starting with junior year all the way through to the end of the senior year. And there's a glossary. You're going to see a PowerPoint presentation. I'll go through the whole thing with you. But in case we do run out of time, because there's a lot of material to cover, this whole countdown will be available on our library website, YouTube. It's being recorded as well. So you'll have an opportunity to see the whole thing just in case we don't get through with the whole thing. So let's get started. In junior year for our 11th grader, the first thing that will take place as far as college is concerned, you'll be taking the PSAT in the fall. Now, everything I say to you may be adjusted as a result of the COVID situation. We don't know for sure what's going to be happening in the fall. So especially with the testing, things may or may not happen exactly the way I'm telling you right now. There's so many undecided things that still have to be worked out as far as the testing services are concerned. But I'm going to give you as updated information as I have, and start from the way it would be. So you'll take the PSAT in October. Just to let the 11th grader understand, the PSAT is just a test to practice for the SAT. It is not used for college admissions purposes, and you don't have to be concerned about it. Well, it's more like a guideline for your own personal use to see where you might have strengths and weaknesses. These high scorers are the ones where it benefits the student, and if you score very, very high, it can be help you get a scholarship later on in the process. So that's the very first thing. So in the fall of junior year, you'll have the PSAT. After that, you start thinking about what it is you want in a college experience. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the location. These next things that we're going to do will be just things that you have to start to think about in terms of a total college experience. So as far as the location is concerned, what areas of the country are realistic for you to consider? And in this climate that we're in right now, I have climate as a factor, and that's warm, cold, and so on. But I think we also have to consider some people feel like they're more comfortable staying closer to home because of what's going and the uncertainties of what the college experience might be like. That's very important. So the other kinds of things to be considered, you want, what kind of a setting would you want? A very country-like setting, a setting similar to what we live in here on Long Island, or maybe a city setting. There are all different types of cities, small cities and big cities. Of course, we know New York City is a very big city. So, but those factors may also be altered depending on what happens with this situation in the fall. And the location and cost is a factor. If you're going to go very far away, it's going to transportation, how you're going to get back and forth, car, bus, fly, whatever costs might be related to the type of transportation. And the specific interests and goals that you might be interested tied to a specific location. That means if you're going to school near a city and you want to do some internship opportunities, which we'll talk about in a minute, it might be better to be closer to a more of an environment that would offer those opportunities as opposed to being in a smaller town that might not have availability along the lines of getting jobs and internships later on. So the next thing is we're going to talk about the size. Colleges come in all different sizes, just like your high schools come in different sizes. So you've got the very large all the way to the very small. And it's a comfort level choice. You know, in your high schools how many students are there. Colleges could go up to 35, 40,000 students, and then they can go down to 1,500, even 1,200 students. So you need to start to get a sense of, or at least start thinking about how big a school would be comfortable for you to function in. I'm going to go quickly over that because I have a lot. The next area is the majors. And the majors, the most important thing I want to focus on with the majors is that some students are very sure about what they think they might want to study in college, especially our 12th graders today. They might really be sure what they want to focus on. But the important thing to know is that you don't really need to be 100% sure what you want to study. Certainly, if you know what you may want to study in college, you want to focus on colleges that are going to offer you those opportunities. Now, if you're not sure what you want to study, there are many colleges that offer programs for students who are undecided, and it's perfectly acceptable to apply to a college as an undecided student. If you have some inkling, but you're not 100% sure, then you want to make sure the colleges that you're applying to do have some of the interest areas that you have right now, because you don't want to get to a college that's totally has nothing that you have your interest in. So you don't have to know for sure. You want to make sure it has a broad enough range of courses and subject areas to study so you'll have a lot of different directions to go into, and you want to make sure that it offers you the opportunities in certain subject areas that do serve your interests. The internship opportunities, I mentioned that before, are really important. I would say certainly your book learning, your classroom studies are very important, but the applying of those studies to an actual workplace environment is also very important. And it's important because, first of all, it'll give you an idea if the area that you're focusing on is comfortable for you and that you want to continue studying for that area, or it could also help you give you a foot in the door for a job after college, as well as building a resume. So you show that you've done some constructive internship opportunities, and that would really also be very helpful in going to your next step, whether it be a job or whether it be professional or graduate school. So please make sure you're looking at the colleges and their internship opportunities. That, I think, is a really important thing for you to focus on. The next slide is the cost slide. Now, in this slide, parents are usually most interested in the cost. Sometimes the students are less interested in the cost. But of course, going to college these days is very expensive. So when you look at the cost of the college, it's the cost of the tuition. And if you're going to go to a residential college, you have a room and board that needs to be considered as well. Most colleges will offer financial aid. All colleges will offer some sort of financial aid, and we'll talk more about specifically financial aid and how to apply for it. But the term financial aid, I think it's important to understand, because you'll say, well, everybody offers financial aid, and that's true. But financial aid doesn't always mean free money. Financial aid could be, and most often is, loan money as well as some free money. So are scholarships a possibility? A scholarship can be received because of excellent academics, grades, excellent combination of usually grades and test scores, and activities. Maybe you're in the band, maybe you're a drama person, maybe you are an artistic person in some way. What activity? Sometimes community service also offers scholarships, as well as the obvious, which is the athletics. So those are the important things to consider when you're looking to defray some of the cost of college. How else can I help to pay for this college experience? and the public and private colleges. In New York State, the SUNY colleges are our public colleges. Colleges, if you're an in-state student, the college experience will be cheaper. The tuition will be cheaper. The room and board usually remains about the same if you're a residential student. If you're going to a college out of the state, even though it might be a state school, like a New Jersey state school, as Rutgers, as an example, you're going to pay tuition not as a New Jersey resident, you're going to pay an out-of-state resident. So that's the difference between state schools. Private schools will always have a tuition that's higher than a state school would be if you're a state resident. In New York State, we have something called the Excelsior Scholarship, which defrays the cost of the college education and actually eliminates the tuition for state students, New York State students going to a state college, but it's also driven by finance. So there's a certain cutoff for family income that would make a student eligible for an Excelsior Scholarship. It has nothing to do with academics. It's totally open to every student depending on income. We'll talk more about financial aid in a couple of minutes, but we'll go on to the next thing, which is the admission selectivity. So colleges are more or less difficult to get into, depending on the college, depending on the student. So you want to look at your own academics and test scores, and if you're presenting your test scores, and see which colleges match up best with what you have. In high school, most high schools, I don't know if everybody is a middle country resident, but Navient, N-A-V-I-A-N-C-E, the 12th graders probably already know about this. The 11th grader will be finding out if he or she doesn't already know, is a good resource for helping you find out whether your grades, your test scores match up with what the college that you're choosing to apply to expects to have. The closer you are to the college's accepted students' grades and test scores, the more chance you have to get in. Now, if a college has much higher grades, that's called a reach college. What I suggest is that everybody should have their dream schools, but don't focus on the dream schools. You want to have a couple of those. You also should have schools that we call safety schools or sure thing schools. And those are schools where you pretty well know that there's no way that you're going to be denied from a college because you're above what their averages are. The realistic or the target schools are where you want to focus yourself. And also, I just want to say, in most cases, they are publicizing their mid 50% ranges when it comes to grade point averages, and if they accept test scores, their test scores as well. So you want to be in that range somewhere for that realistic or target school. Choose from each category, but I would say if you're looking for scholarship money, it's going to be with the safety schools and the target range schools. So let's go on to the next slide, which is the sports and activity slide. Sports and activities are what enhance a college life. You're in classes some of the time, but you're really not in classes most of the time. So you want to make sure the college offers you opportunities. Just like in college, you have certain activities that you participate in. Excuse me. You want to make sure that in college you have the same types of activities that you could be interested in to make your college experience a total living experience. And so one of the things you want to research is if you know you're interested in a certain athletic program, you want to make sure that college has that athletic program. And if you're really good athlete. You have to make sure that the coaches are aware of you. If you're a soccer player, lacrosse player, football player, you want to make sure you have those sports there, and the college, a coach knows that you are interested in playing for that school. That's for the NCAA Divisions 1 and 2, and 3, actually. Scholarships for athletics, usually it's Division 1 and Division 2, but depending on how much time and effort you want to give your sport, that's how you should decide to make the decision about whether you want to play that sport in college. If you're a recruited athlete, that could help you get into a more difficult college than you might otherwise be able to get into. For the rest of the students that are not athletes, you can get scholarship money for other types of activities. Band, orchestra, maybe you really excel in have a strong talent area. You can see if the college will offer not only the area that you're interested in, but scholarship money for that area. So just be sure that you have the activities that you're most interested in, because social life is a very important aspect of your whole college experience. And I don't mean that you're out partying. It means you're doing something really constructive. And as far as the living conditions are concerned, what kind of housing is offered by the college? Most colleges offer freshman housing on campus. If you're living on a campus and you're living away from home, you want to live on that campus. You don't want to have to commute to a campus that's not close to your home. So that's really important. And what type of housing situation? Is it a double? Is it a triple? Is it a quadruple? Is it male and female dorms? There are all kinds of possibilities these days of college housing experience. So you want to be sure you know what the options are available to you. For those students that are planning on commuting and staying home, that's fine too. Transportation has to be considered, how you're getting back and forth. And might I also just backtrack a slight bit, that even if you decide to stay home from college, those sports and activities that you participated in high school are also very important to make you have a great college experience. I personally stayed home from college, and I don't think I was ever in my house. I was on my college campus most of the time, just having a great college experience. So certainly a lot of students will find the need to work, and that's fine too, but try to participate in something on that campus so that you feel that is really part of what those 4 years are going to be about. Be careful with suitcases. Just a minute, I want to just talk about suitcase colleges. A suitcase college is a college where you'd be going away, but because a lot of the students do live close to that campus, they might be going home, and if you're too far away, you may not be able to go home. So you want to make sure that the campus doesn't empty out on the weekends. Colleges should offer students enough activities and enough opportunities for social life on a weekend, sponsored by the college, so that you're comfortable and you're not, your roommate doesn't leave, half your dorm doesn't go home, and then you're there. So be careful about that. You check on that. The college has all these statistics. Okay, so now you're going to do all of this before you start your process. The student who's the 11th grader, you have the opportunity of kind of starting from scratch. The 12th graders, I don't know what area, where you are in the process at the moment, but those are things that should be considering all along now. Okay, the next thing is the SATs and the ACTs. We're going to spend a little time on that because this seems to be the thing that the students seem to get most hung up on. First of all, at the outset, just let me say, testing is a part of it. Many colleges require the tests, and if so, you have to have them. but it's your transcript. It's the courses you've taken. It's the quality of the courses you've taken, along with your performance in those courses, that really does make a difference. And I would say now more than ever, because even for the rising the rising seniors as well as the 11th grader, there will be very little testing information available because of COVID and because of the lack of testing. So the focus is going to be on what your performance is. Now, I know in the case of the rising senior, the semester probably is going to be a pass-fail. Colleges will accept the pass-fail. They'll be totally understanding. The SAT and the ACT have decided to give priority for testing to the rising seniors and to the students that would have just that are just graduating if they should need it. For the 11th grader, that you wouldn't really start in earnest with your testing until the end of the junior year anyway. So, but the priority for test dates will be in the fall and say late fall and early winter. Now, if you've already, more than likely, and I can't ask unfortunately, but if you've missed out on testing, it's perfectly understandable. I'm hearing that there are many colleges that have decided not to even look at tests. They're going to be test blind. There are many colleges that will be test optional. Test blind means they don't really care about your test scores. Don't bother sending them. Test optional means you have the option to send the tests or not if you have test scores. Maybe you have test scores from earlier on, before all this spring COVID happened. So it's your call to send them. And if you haven't taken them at all, don't worry about it because they're not going to really focus on tests. This is what I'm hearing based on what the college's attitude toward the testing situation. Now, mind you, everything I'm saying, and I at the very last statement at the end of this PowerPoint will be, the colleges have to make the decisions. The testing services don't make the decisions on your scores. It's up to the colleges, their policies, what they decide to accept, what they decide not to accept. So always check with your colleges, whichever colleges, whether it's Stony Brook here, whether it's Hofstra, or whether it's a college away from home. Find out what their attitudes toward the testing is going to be and what they feel they would want from you as the student. Now, the testing dates and the way the test is administered are also affected by this. The testing dates, as I said before, as far as the SAT is concerned, it's going to be priority given to the rising seniors. The testing options, the way the test is offered, is a whole other story. Will it be offered actually in the classroom? Will it be offered on the computer, online? Will you be able to maybe even take it at your home? If you've taken some AP tests already, you may have already experienced the fact that you could take them in the home. I don't know, and they don't know exactly what they're going to be doing and what is going to be most feasible to do. At home, SATs, I think, or ACT will be difficult because of the proctoring situation. But that all remains to be seen. Come the fall, you'll have a better idea. And when you're in contact with your actual high school, they will be able to tell you exactly what the story is going to be as far as this, when and if you're going to sit on site for these tests. The ACT has developed some different options that they're offering available. Let's talk about test optional, or I'm showing super scoring. let's talk about super scoring. Do we have that slide up there, Sal? I didn't know where I go in the mid. I'm kind of getting maybe out of order a little bit. Okay. What is a super score? You may have already been aware of this. Maybe the 12th graders are already aware of this. A super score is the ability to mix and match your scores. It makes no difference when you actually took that test. So if I took an English test in October and I took a math test in March and I did better on the English in October and better in the math, and I could mix and match those. That's super scoring. The SAT has been allowing that for a long time. Okay, but the ACT now has come up with the idea that they could super score. The ACT has also come up with something called a retest option. This you cannot do with the SAT. A retest option is the opportunity to sit for a test that you want to do better in. So you say you take the ACT and you take all 4 ACT tests, science, math, English, and reading, and you need to do better on your math, and you want to retest the math, or you want to retest the math and the science. You could sign up for the next testing opportunity and just take those particular tests. And those higher, if you get higher, those higher scores will be part of your super score that would be sent to the colleges. So I hope that makes it clear. So the retesting option, after you've taken the whole battery of tests, the 4 tests first, is available for any test that you want to take again. And you could take it again and again and again. But understand what I said before. It's not the ACT that's going to make the decision. It's the college that will make the decision. They're going to want to see everything. You will be sending everything. You can't just pick and choose to send my English high score with the whole first battery and take out the first English score and put the second English score in. That doesn't work that way. They're going to see all the scores. And it's up to the college to make the decision to pull out the highest of each of those subject areas and admit you based on that, highest scores. These days, many colleges do super score. Many colleges have been super scoring the SAT all along with the math and the English section. Now they will have the opportunity to do it with the ACT if they so choose. There are a couple of colleges that I could tell you right off the bat will not super score anything, and Penn State is one of them. I don't know if anybody's interested in that particular school. University of Michigan, Michigan State, those are 2 other schools, whether you're interested or not. The local schools here on the island will super score. So, and SUNY for the most part will super score. So you have to, again, check with your colleges, make sure you know what it is that they want and what they will do. And that will also affect how you're going to apply to your colleges, okay? So all of this said about the testing, and if anybody has any questions, does anybody have any questions? Please feel free to, I just want to make sure that's all clear. And nothing yet, Sal?
Nothing yet, Barbara.
Okay, good. Because of this situation with the testing and when it's available or when it's not available and what may be happening, it's forcing the colleges to really look at the transcript and the performance in your high school. That's really going to be it. And in many colleges, since this semester is pass-fail for the 12th graders, your emphasis will be on up to what you did up until the first semester, through your first semester of your junior year. Okay, for our junior, going forward, you're just going to do the best you can. If you go back to your classes full time and regular classes continue, that would be great. For our 12th graders, first semester of senior year is very important academically. Again, we don't know what's going to be happening for sure, but when you get back to school, you want to be able to make sure that you do well with your senior classes. First semester always gets sent to your college so that they will see your performance in the first semester of your senior year. That could sometimes make or break a college decision as well. So the websites that are really helpful to you to answer a lot of questions about all this major unknown, the big unknown right now, the ACT.org, the SAT.org, and the National Association of College Admissions Counseling. I think I have it on here, NACAC.org. NACAC.org is more of a broader based website where you'll get input from colleges as well as high schools and things that are going on. And there's no bias with this. It's going to be straightforward facts, and it's a good website to refer to. Okay, where SAT is going to be somewhat biased toward themselves, and so will the ACT. Okay, so I think we've got. I don't know if anybody's interested in the University of California schools. But they just came out. It's a big system, by the way, and this might set a precedent. And I know we won't know for sure right now, but because it is a big state system, it's big news in the college scene. They have decided that they will not require any kind of testing, SAT or ACT. Big controversy. The test companies are not happy about this, but they won't require testing for the next 2 years, and then they might be going test optional after that. But I don't know if anybody's interested in UCal, but I don't think that's the important thing. The important thing is a precedent-setting move on their part. So whether other state systems in the country will take place, and especially will follow suit, rather, and if the SUNY system will follow suit, that all remains to be seen, okay? So now, our next thing is going to be the spring, summer, and fall. Now, here I have college visits. Now, remember, I've done this for many, many years, and what I've always said, and will be true to whatever greater or lesser degree it's possible to be true, you want to get yourself on a college campus to visit the school. These days, many of these visits are going to be virtual. Colleges have really made great efforts this spring and will be going forward in the fall, I'm sure, to really have a good virtual college website. They'll also have webinars, they'll have Q&As, they'll have opportunities to speak to students, they'll have opportunities to speak to professors. Utilize as much as you can if you can't get on a college campus. Normally, I would say get to the colleges and so you could see the actual visual of the campus in person, and you want to do that when possible. If it's not possible, what's the next best thing? Gleaning the information electronically as much as you're able to. The same with the publications. I always would say when you go to the dining halls, you pick up or the recreation, whatever centers they have on the campus, the student centers, you pick up publications. You can still do that online. A lot of these colleges will have publications online. And the purpose of looking at the publication is kind of, again, getting a sense for the flavor in that campus. Some of the important issues that might come up. So you try to make an effort to get as much information about a college as you can. This past spring, it was tough on the students that just graduated. They had to do a lot of their return. They couldn't return to the college campuses to do a second look because everything was virtual. For the 12th graders, hopefully that will not be the case. By spring next year, hopefully you will be able to get on the campuses. So I will emphasize that. And for our junior, it shouldn't be an issue. You should have no problem getting out and seeing campuses in person. It's the most important thing to help you make a good decision about your college experience. Okay, so now we get to our senior year. That's where our 12th graders are going into now, and you're going to be actually choosing your colleges that you're going to be applying to. And if you're staying home, that's fine. If you're deciding to stay on Long Island, that's great. You want to select more than one. If you're going to go to a community college and use that as a stepping stone college for financial purposes, that's a great idea as well. I don't know what you're thinking about right now, but certainly if you're going to go to a residential college, and you're considering any four-year college, you want to select more than one or two. So I have 8 to 10 schools here. That really depends. It's very student specific. It's how many schools you feel you want to apply to. But you certainly, I don't know if in your schools, if you've heard of students applying to 15, 20 schools, which is kind of silly. It means you haven't really done enough research to know what you're looking for in a college campus. But up to tops 10 schools, that would be fine. There are other things that happen in the fall. We have college fairs, many of which are being held virtually again. So we have virtual college fairs, online college fairs, online and websites, which we've just talked about, and opportunities to speak to reps. I think the colleges realize, and they're all vying for students, by the way. They know that this is a tough time, and many students have decided to stay close to home. So maybe some of these colleges are more apt to be more flexible in the admissions process as well. So utilize whatever they offer. You start your applications. When you get back in the fall, you're going to see your teachers to get some letters of recommendations. That's part of the process. At least 2 teachers or 2 people that know you well enough to know from a personal perspective. Teachers are very important. A personal reference is fine too, as long as that person really knows you. You have the applications. You'll be using the common application in most cases. The SUNY has the SUNY common application as well, or this regular common application. Many of the SUNY schools participate in the common application. So you're going to be able to have plenty of opportunity to apply to colleges in many different ways. It's all electronic. A lot of it will be done through Naviance as well. You'll be telling your counselors what colleges you're applying to, and then the counselors will get your transcript, your recommendations from your teachers, and they'll compile it and you'll have your test scores if necessary, and if they're available, sent to the colleges separately, and then you'll have your high school send the support materials as well. You will be sending your application. You will be sending your essays. Along with your application and your essay, even though you use the common application, many colleges want a supplemental application. That is, they want more specific information for their own colleges. So it may have to do with an area of study. It may have to do with some activities. Sometimes they want a little more detail and information. If that's the case, you want to make sure you do a supplement that's required by the college. So there are different ways of applying, but that's basically, it'll be online, virtual, and again, the best way to know what a college wants is to go to that college's website and give them exactly what they want, the way they want it, and then you'll have no problem. There are different deadlines that come up in the fall with, there's a regular decision deadline, which means that you're going to send your application by the maybe February 1st, January 15th, March 1st, whatever their regular decision deadline. However, there are other options. One is early decision. If you are applying to a college that you really want to go to, it's your first choice, and they offer early decision policy, it means that you're going to be applying to that college with the understanding that if you get accepted to that college, you will absolutely attend. You will be signing a paper. Your parents will be signing a paper. Sometimes your counselors have to sign as well, confirming that you will go there if you're accepted. Okay, it's a binding policy. You only do that if you're 100% sure. You only do that if you are sure you're not looking for scholarship money from a lot of other schools. So there's a lot of variables why you should or should not do the early decision. Early action is a flexible policy. It's deciding that you're applying very early on in the process by an earlier deadline, but there is no obligation to go. So you could find out by Christmas or the winter holidays if you're accepted, but you don't have to make up your mind to go there. You don't have to send a deposit right away. So that's the basic difference. It's all explained in the booklet here. How much time do we have? Okay. It's very important, too, when you're applying to colleges online, you're going to be sending a credit card. Make sure that you get a receipt of that money that you sent, a credit card receipt, and that you have a copy of your application. You save in your documents. You want to always have copies of everything that you ever put out, especially when you do your essays and everything. Okay, so now once you've gotten your applications in, I mentioned before how important it is to maintain your grades your first semester, but it's just as important to maintain your grades the second semester of senior year, because a college, and it has happened, that doesn't happen often, but it has happened, that can pull a decision, a favorable decision, because a student failed or did very, very poorly in grades in the spring semester of the senior year. So you can't give up. You as much as you want to kind of relax a little bit, you still want to maintain as good grades as you can. So, and then of course you wait for the decisions to come in. The decisions will come in depending on the policy that you used, but by the end of March, the beginning of April, you'll have a decision from all of your colleges, and then you'll make a decision of where you want to go, okay? And that's the greatest thing, knowing that the ball is in your park, and it's up to you whether or not you want to go there. And that's when you have to reevaluate and go on campuses if possible, get as much information about the school as possible so you know for sure you're making the right decision about where you want to spend the next 4 years of your academic life. And if you're residing, next 4 years, your residential life as well. Okay, I think I really want to get into, I have to say one more thing, because if it comes up, if you should be waitlisted at a first choice college, and that means that the door is slightly opened for you. It means that maybe you were borderline, they wanted to take you, the pool was too big. You could make a little campaign for yourself if you still really want to go there, and write them a letter, get your guidance counselor to write a letter, let them know how very serious you are about attending the college. If they should go to the wait list, they're going to want to take students they are sure that will come. So it's not a guarantee of getting in. It doesn't mean you shouldn't deposit someplace else. So please read what I wrote about the waitlisting. It's a very, very important thing to know if it should happen to you. Once you've done all that, now you decided where you're going to college and you're ready to go, and isn't that great? And colleges will have what they're doing now for the 12th grade, the seniors that just graduated. They're doing all kinds of preparation for the students, just orientations for the students to start in the fall. Some are doing virtual orientations, some are doing on-site orientations. I am hearing a lot of colleges doing on-sites, which is great, over the summer. So it'll be what will happen next year. I'm sure you'll be doing on-sites. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about financial aid because this is a very important aspect of the process. What you need to know about financial aid, first of all, the website, which is studentaid.gov, studentaid.gov, is a great website to explain this whole financial aid process. Before what I said about financial aid, financial aid does not refer to free money. Financial aid refers to the kinds of money that a student could be offered when they are attending to college. Some aid is need-based, which means it's totally based on the parents and combination of if the student has income as well. It's totally income-based. Some is academic based, talent-based, athletic-based, and finances don't enter into that picture at all. Some is a combination of both. It's important to know when you're applying to your colleges what kinds of aids do they offer. The financial aid website of every college will give you the information of the scholarships they offer, and many times how much the money would be in the form of scholarships. And they also offer a net price calculator, which is really important. I have it in here. And the net price calculator will give you the opportunity to kind of plug in all of your financial information to get an idea of what you might expect to get from that particular college. It's required. All colleges must have that. The studentaid.gov website also will offer you an opportunity to do the same thing. All right. It's called FAFSA Forecaster. There's a link to it from the student aid. FAFSA, FAFSA, with the number 4, and then the CASTER, Forecaster. They both do the same thing. They both try to calculate, based on the numbers that you put in, exactly what you might get in financial aid. Now, what is financial aid? Financial aid takes the form of grants, free money you don't have to pay back, loans, money which you do have to pay back, work study, which monies that you have to work to get, the grants and the loans and some of the grants as well as the work study. If it's from the government, it's financial aid need-based. So if you qualify, you could qualify for grant money depending on income. You could qualify for loan money, which everybody qualifies for loan money. And you could qualify for work study money, but you have the option to work the job to get the money or not. Some students decide to use the work study second semester of their college experience because they want to get used to college first. Some students want the money from day one. Those are the options for financial aid. You apply for financial aid, and this is really important. The application for financial aid can go in October of the senior year, okay? So you apply for financial aid with the FAFSA form, FAFSA, October 1st of senior year. Now, what information do you need to put in? You need the information from the previous year's income tax. So for the 12th graders, you would be using the information for 2019 income tax when you do the FAFSA form after the 1st of October of your senior year. So it's the year prior. Basically, if you just think of it, it's the April of your junior year, whatever that tax year that you're doing taxes for in April of your junior year, that's the one you would use, okay? I tried to make it clear in the PowerPoint. So if you read it, if you have a little confusion, if you just read it a couple of times, and just remember October 1st and taxes from April of junior year. And that'll give you the information that you need to do your FAFSA form. So you'll do the FAFSA form. That's for the student aid money from the government. Has nothing to do with any college monies. The colleges could offer monies too. They could offer grants. They could offer scholarships, which could be need-based and non-need-based. That's why you want to know exactly what kind of aid they offer. Okay? Are they going to only offer need-based scholarships? Will they give you the opportunity to get academic money or talent money as well? Go to the college websites. They will give you the information that you need. Okay, there are some private colleges that will require an additional form. It's called a CSS profile. That CSS profile, and I've got 4 minutes left, is a specific application for some colleges, not all. You access it through the College Board's website. On the College Board's website link there will give you a list of all the colleges that want it. If they want it, you must do it. It's more specific information and more detailed information about your finances that some colleges feel they require. Some colleges additionally will want their own little form, and if so, you'll find that out when you check the college's financial aid website. In New York State, we have TAP money, New York State Tuition Assistance Program. You could apply for that as well. That's a financial need-based, income-driven. You could access that when you fill out the FAFSA form. You could link to the TAP form as well. So you could fill out the TAP form, and don't forget you have the Excelsior program for New York State. Okay, so you want to apply for all of these things because you don't want to not apply and you maybe could have missed out. So apply for it. Even if you think you're not going to get it, put those forms in. It's a pain in the neck. In the couple of minutes I have left, I just want to make sure that I say this. Myself, Barbara, and as well as the other counselors, we're here at the library to help you through this whole process. I will work on applications with students. I will proofread essays for students. I will start the whole college search from the beginning with the students. I will walk through the whole college admissions process with students. I have done it for many years, and I enjoy doing it. I love working with high school students. That's my favorite population. No offense to the adults. But I really feel like it's an important asset to have somebody that you can lean on, and you could come and see me as much as you want. I know in your guidance offices you have great counselors in the high schools. Sometimes the high school counselors have a big caseload and it's more difficult. With the library, you just make an appointment with us through the Miller Business Center, and you could see us as often as you want to. So I hope that you'll take advantage of this. I've given you an overview of everything you need to do. If you hold on to this little PowerPoint that we just did, I hopefully will answer all of your questions in the future. And I hope that you'll take advantage of what the library offers in the way of just not coming to see us, but we have a lot of resources as well.